East Hampton Town Board, you are live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December 1st regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Board. Carol, would you please read the roll call?
Present.
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 Present. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today we have 3 public hearings, after which we'll have a public portion where any member of the public may address the board on any topic. We always ask that you try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And then the board will have resolutions to offer. Carol, if you would please read the... Oh, I'm sorry. I do this far too often. It's very nice. Today we have our town historian is here in the audience in the partially obstructed seat behind.
You better do the roll call. You did it.
We're all set for you, Mr. Hugh King, and welcome to Town Hall. And what do you have for us today?
Well, thank you. Councilman Lease just mentioned something unfortunate happened. Norma Edwards has passed away. It's another piece of our history that is gone and you can't replace Norma. But I'm wearing Carlton Kelsey's hat, right here. And when Carlton had to move out of his house in Amagansett, Norma found him a place in Springs. And then when he passed away, I was able to go down there and not only get Carlton's hat, but Carlton had these little 3x5 cards that he kept behind the desk at the library. And in there was the history of Amagansett, especially the old houses. And we were able to take that, and it's in the Carlton Local History Room at the Amagansett Library. All right. I'm going to talk about 2 people, one who was a historian, one who wasn't. The first one is Harry D. Slate. He was an expert on Sag Harbor history. If you look at the trustee records up until 1925, he is the historian working on those records. He wrote books and newspapers on Long Island history. He was the editor of the Sag Harbor Corrector, later joined with the Sag Harbor Express. He worked to preserve the whaling ships, the records of the whaling ships, and he worked on the town records of Southampton and Huntington. And the next person I'm going to talk about was a co-town historian, Stuart Vorpool, known as Fishhook Smulford. He many times faced angry dock owners, Georgia Capon neighbors. He had legal battles with the real estate developers, jurisdiction battles with the town board and the state. He was a fierce proponent of fishing rights of the townspeople. He was a defender of the Duncan patent. He would have been right in the middle of the fight at Truck Beach. You can bet your life on that. He was said to have read the trustee records numerous times, and he could recite them in great detail. And before I give you your assignment, I just want to report that the Springs Historical Society, the Springs Library, and the Heart of Springs had a meeting the other day to talk about the 375th anniversary. So they're working on some programs. Okay, now your assignments, your Christmas presents are following. David Gardner wrote something in 1840 called The Chronicles of East Hampton. If Councilwoman Rogers would look at that and take something from it and maybe even point out what's missing. Okay. It's supposed to be a history of East Hampton. Councilwoman Overby doesn't escape because John Lyon Gardner wrote the history of East Hampton in 1798. So that's in one of the books that you now have in your library. She could go there and look at that and take something from it and see what's missing. Then we have Lyman Beecher, for the supervisor, gave a lecture, gave a sermon in 1806, which was a thinly veiled history of East Hampton, which he really criticized his congregation. And his history is missing some important points. You could probably find some of them there, Supervisor. Henry P. Hedges was our great historian. He was never the town historian. His book came out in 1898. There are excerpts of that book in the library that you have here. Councilman Lees. And here's the easiest one, because Councilwoman Gonzalez deserves the easiest one. Jeanette Edwards Rattray wrote the history and genealogies of East Hampton in 1953. And in that book are the histories of the first families. It's like the Bible. If you want to know anything about people's history, you go there. But you can look through that book and see what she wrote about, maybe something that's missing too.
Okay.
Okay? And that'll be for our Christmas party on December, whatever it is. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Here.
Thanks for being here today.
Here.
Carol, if you'd please read the COVID disclaimer and the first public hearing notice.
The public hearings will be held live and in person by the town board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing and will be televised on local TV channel 22 and available for live stream on the LTV website. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent, by attorney, or by call-in to the live stream, or by written comment addressed to the East Hampton Town Clerk at 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, New York. Comments may also be submitted to the town clerk by email to cbrennan@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the town clerk by the date and time of the public hearing. Please check the meeting portal posted on the town's website for any changes and for updated information. Take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing pursuant to Chapter 232 Urban Renewal of the Town Code of the Town of East Hampton, Section 232-1-70, modification of urban renewal plans in the Town Hall Meeting Room, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on December 1st at 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard, to consider the following modification of urban renewal map EH3. It's urban renewal parcel URP number 55 and URP number 56 in EH3, 300, 120, 315, and 17.2. Map 171, Olympic Heights, Section 3, 15 Abraham's Path in East Hampton. It's from UR parcel number 55, lots 21 through 25, part of 26 and part of 32. UR parcel number 56, lots 35 and 36, to UR parcel number 55, lots part of 21 through part of 24, lots 25, part of 26, part of 32. And UR parcel number 56, lots part of 21 through part of 24, lots 35 and 36. A copy of the map depicting the proposed changes is available in the office of the town clerk during regular business hours of 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, exclusive of holidays. A copy of the proposed changes will also be available on the town's website.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the board on this matter? I'll entertain a motion to close.
Is there anybody on the phone?
Oh, yeah. Do we have any callers on the line, Matt?
We have two callers. I'm not sure if this is the topic they want. I can unmute them and we could figure it out.
Thank you.
Caller 8635, I'm unmuting you. If you could let us know whether or not this is the topic you want to talk about.
I'm unmuting you. If you could let us know whether or not this is the topic you want to talk about.
If you can mute your television at home.
If you could let us know whether or not this is the topic you want to talk about. If you can mute your television at home.
Sorry, I'm here for the stop sign petition for the Amagansett East Association.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. Please, for any callers at home, please turn your television off or mute it before you comment. Caller 0145, I'm unmuting you. If you could let us know if this is the topic you'd like to talk about.
No, I'm actually also calling regarding this stop sign petition.
Okay, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to close.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carry. Carol, if you'd please read the second hearing notice.
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on Thursday, December 1st, at 2 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard to consider any and all comments in relationship to the proposed amendment to Chapter 240, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 240-58, Schedule 8, stop intersections of the East Hampton Town Code to place stop signs at various intersections in town to enhance public safety, and abstract to which follows. Stop signs to be added in the north-south direction on Surf Drive and at its intersection with Central Avenue. Stop signs on Central Avenue in an east-west direction at its intersection with Surf Avenue shall be corrected to change Surf Avenue to read Surf Drive. Full text of the proposed local law is available from the Office of the Town Clerk and is also available online at the town's website.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone in the room wish to address the board on this matter? We'll go to the callers. I believe we have 2 callers on the line waiting to speak on this matter.
Caller 8635, you are unmuted.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking my call. I'm Kathy Rockland, and I'm president of the Amagansett East Association. This is our petition to erect a 4-way stop at the intersection of Surf Drive and Central Avenue in Beach Hampton. For anyone not familiar, the Amagansett East Association is an association of about 340 homes located in the Beach Hampton area of Amagansett. The primary access road into our community is Surf Drive, which runs directly off Montauk Highway, and the first road intersecting Surf is Central, which is also a primary roadway in our community. Our request for a 4-way stop at the intersection of Surf and Central is driven by safety concerns resulting from speeding on Surf Drive. Drivers entering onto Surf from Montauk are generally moving at a high rate of speed, often, frankly, above the speed limit. And to exacerbate that problem, Surf is at the bottom of a deep hill, so cars naturally tend to speed up as they descend the hill, and there's no shoulder to slow down on as you're trying to make the turn onto Surf. So the result is that speeding cars push drivers exiting onto Surf, and so when they travel along Surf, they're moving faster than they otherwise might have if they'd had an easier way to slow down to get onto Surf. Additionally, there's limited visibility turning from Central onto Surf, so there's a real risk of collision at that corner. Surf Drive is frequented by children, adults and their pets, people walking, jogging, riding bikes, scooters, all of this alongside cars, delivery trucks, and construction vehicles, and the same is true for Central Avenue. So to slow the speed in all directions and protect everyone using these roads, we think the erection of stop signs at all 4 corners is critical. There are currently stop signs on the eastern and western corners of Central, but there are none on Surf, which is why we're asking for additional stop signs at the north and south corners of Surf. So we greatly appreciate your agreeing to take this matter up and hope you'll look favorably on it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for calling in. Matt, if we could go to the second caller, please.
Caller 0145, you are on air.
Thanks so much. My name is Peter Kaplan. I'm also part of the same community that Kathy described. I'm the vice president of the same association. She said it all quite well. I think the one thing I would add is that Surf is unique in that it's the only north-south street running into our neighborhood that doesn't have a stop sign at that midpoint where Central intersects. So it's a little bit deceptive and confusing, and thus a driver moving that way wouldn't have a sense that there's another street that's intersecting it as Central does. And I'd also note that people, coming from Central are often going across. So they're not just turning on to surf, they're actually having to cross. And that's the most dangerous situation, of having to actually creep out and then go straight across that intersection. So I agree completely with Kathy. I think it would greatly enhance the safety of that spot, and just slow cars down in general, to have the north-south stop signs, making it a four-way. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you for calling, Peter. Do we have any other callers on the line, Matt?
Yeah, we have one more caller. Give me 1 second so I can unmute and mute. Caller 4221, you are on air.
Thank you. Hi, this is Jane Meering in Amagansett. I live in this neighborhood, very close to Surf Drive, and I just very quickly wanted to second what Peter and Kathy from our homeowners association said. The north-south part of Surf is heavily used. It's speedily used. And as you all may know, we have a lot of construction and development going on. So there are many people sort of flying in off of 27 that don't really know the neighborhood and sort of the constraints of the roads. And so it can be quite dangerous. I am one of those people with pets that walks it often, and there have been some sort of shocking near misses both when walking and when driving. So I just wanted to also endorse that the north-south stop sign is very important for this neighborhood. And I don't want to undermine the other stop signs, but if you didn't want a four-way stop sign there, it's the north-south that is way more critical than the east-west. But four-way is great too. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Jane. Matt, do we have any other callers?
There's no new callers on the line.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Carol, if you read our last public hearing notice for the afternoon.
Please take notice that pursuant to Section 247 of the General Municipal Law of the State of New York and the provisions of the East Hampton Town Code, Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing in the Town Hall Meeting Room, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on Thursday, December 1st, 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard concerning the following grant of scenic and conservation easement to the Town of East Hampton. The grantor is Patrick McDonald. It's a scenic and conservation easement dated November 4th. The location is 150 Waterhole Road in Springs, Suffolk County Tax Map 323-311. Reviewing agency is the ZBA.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board on this matter? Matt, do we have any callers on the line?
No new callers. One of the callers stayed on the line. I'm not sure if they want to talk about this. I could ask.
You want to check? They're staying on the line.
Caller 8635, would you like to talk about this topic as well?
No, thanks. I'll drop off the line so there's no confusion.
Okay, thanks. There's no one else on the line.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, passed and carried. That concludes our public hearings. We now go to the public portion where any member of the public may address the board on any topic. Again, that we ask you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And David?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, David?
Put one on Sylvia's desk. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I am David Buddha from the Springs portion of East Hampton Town. I see on today's agenda 2 follow-up resolutions that Council Member Elise has sponsored concerning the 2 public hearings that were held 2 weeks ago on November 17th, which were to consider adding the 2-acre vacant parcel at 106 Red Dirt Road to the CPF project plan and to also acquire it for $1.5 million. I spoke at those hearings, and I have to thank you, Mr. Supervisor, for indulging me to allow me to finish my comments during the two public hearings. And I voiced my opinion that the subject property, which is surrounded on three sides by roads and developed residential lots, really does not need to be preserved, and that moreover, the contract price of $1.5 million is excessive and not supported by comparable sales of similar sized vacant, non-waterfront and non-water view properties in the Springs, which are considered to be qualified sales, which, by the way, of course, excludes other CPF land purchases, which might be in that ballpark of value, but they are not qualified sales. When all the facts and circumstances are properly evaluated, I prefer development of this particular subdivision lot so that it might eventually contribute to the tax base of the Springs School District. Each of the 12 currently developed properties on adjacent Sunburst Lane paid an average of $11,725 in taxes last year. I ask that you have a fulsome discussion and deliberation concerning this matter, either today or at an upcoming work session before voting to adopt these two proposed resolutions that are on today's agenda. What has become clear to me during and after the November 17th hearings, and the reason I am speaking up again, is that it appears that the primary reason, not the only reason, but the primary reason that this proposed CPF acquisition has been handled in an expedited and what I consider to be an irregular fashion by the town, without even the benefit of obtaining an independent, professional, and detailed planning department review and evaluation report, is that the Department of Land Acquisition and the supporters of this acquisition in the Trails Preservation Society, who are my friends, are acting under a misapprehension of fact, namely that the acquisition is needed to protect a portion of a traditional woods road that now acts as a short public trails connector. What has been apparently overlooked or misunderstood is that when the subject property was created in 1977 by the planning board granting the Marjorie Jonas 4-lot minor subdivision, which was an 11-acre parcel stretching between Neck Path and Red Dirt Road. One of the primary concerns of the planning board was to evaluate and protect public woods roads crossing the undivided 11-acre tract. On November 24th, 1976, the reviewing committee wrote, quote, "Two woods roads traditionally used as trails cross subject property, and the owner agrees to realign parcels 1 and 2 in such a manner that the southerly trail will be adjacent to the new common boundary of parcels 1 and 2. The owner has further agreed to dedicate a scenic easement to secure and protect that woods road used as a trail." And that's exactly what was done. So there is really no need to spend $1.5 billion of CPF monies to save something that has already been saved. When the time came to satisfy the conditions of the minor subdivision so that the newly created lots could be conveyed and or developed, the town planning board, building inspector, and town board all required that the necessary easement to protect that trail be submitted, reviewed, approved, and recorded, which they were in 1979. In the package I prepared for each of you is a copy of the Jonas Minor subdivision map, a close-up and the full map. Number 2, or Exhibit B, is the scenic easement that was carefully designed to fully protect the southerly Woods Road, now used as a public trail, and a copy of the 2002 property survey for 22 Sunburst Lane, which was part of the Jonas subdivision, which is now takes its access and commonly named for its access from Sunburst. That's Exhibit C. And the reason why I've included that, even though it's not the subject property, is that it contains the best depiction of the Woods Road Trail and the scenic easement that was created to protect it. The entirety of the trail is within the property known as 22 Sunburst Lane. It's fully protected by a trail easement, although all the town's professionals back in 1979, they didn't have the current practice of labeling it as a trail easement. They labeled it as a scenic easement. And I think what that has to do, and maybe Mr. Jolnicki can explain this better, since it was a woods road, a public pre-existing traditional road that the trail was going through, it had a status of being a public access. The scenic easement did not have to further specify that the public would be allowed to traverse that woods road, because the scenic easement simply says that it's a scenic easement, but it was carefully designed. The subdivision was manipulated and moved so that the scenic easement would go right over that trail, and that the shape of the lots was determined by the then existing location of the historical woods trail. So I would be happy to answer any questions you may have if time permits, but mostly I want to encourage you, having to discuss this matter. And if you have all the facts, make a decision. If you need additional facts, delve into it. That's the whole purpose of having a public hearing. And that's all the reason why a public hearing for CPF acquisition is mandatory. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else wish to address the board? Yes. Good afternoon.
Hi. If you give me one for Councilwoman Overby, I'll put it on her desk. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll share this one with her.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you could just state your names for the records.
Yep. I'm James Burke.
I'm Andy Fortier.
I'm so sorry. Can you just repeat that? I apologize.
James Burke.
Thank you, James.
Andy Fortier.
Welcome.
Ready? Yeah, so we own a sand and soil farm. We're a 2-acre farm on Town Lane on the land trust land. We grow mixed organic vegetables, and we sell at 4 farmers markets. And we take care of the 1-acre garden at Nick and Tony's restaurant. And in the winter, I do some carpentry, and I do all the maintenance at all the 5 Honest Man restaurants. And Andy works at a preschool. And between the two of us, we have 12 years farming experience. Why we're here today is because we submitted a proposal for the Cedar Street property, that the recent decision, and it's been brought to our attention that our proposal never made it to the board for overview. And I'd like to say, first of all, thank you. I really think what you guys did with the Cedar Street property was a really good idea. I think it's exactly in my opinion, exactly what the CPF money is for. So I'd like to commend you on that. It was a really, really good idea. And it's exactly what young farmers like us need to be able to do the work that we do. So thank you. So I just want to talk about for a second our experience and sort of over the past few years that we've been farming, we've learned really what our strengths are. And so before we started our own farm, we both worked on various farms for many years before. And we've had our own farm for 3 seasons now, and we've gotten better every season. We've grown every season. That's how we make our money. This is what we do. This is our only thing. And we've grown more stuff every year. We've grown more variety of stuff every year. We've been able to join more farmers markets every year. We've been able to be more consistent at the farmers markets every year. And we do everything, the two of us. It's if it's on the table, if it's sold to somebody, if moves, it's because we touched it. That's the only, it's just the two of us. So it's a lot of work. And we've built a loyal customer base at all of our farmers markets. We do 3 in the town of East Hampton, Montauk Market, the Springs Market, and the East Hampton Market. And we sell to some of the restaurants too. During COVID, we were doing home deliveries. And this fall, we were doing home deliveries. And we've been able to save up and buy all the equipment that we need. So we have all the equipment already that's necessary for this to do this work, and we have it. So we do have some restrictions though. We're in the incubator program with the Peconic Land Trust, and it's a 5-year program. After that, there's nothing promised, so we could just lose our lease because somebody else newer signed up, and so that really inhibits our ability to plan for the future. We can't grow perennials. We've sort of maxed out our potential in that area, and we don't have reliable access to water, which is, as you can imagine, important. We have no access to electricity. We have no storage for tools or any kind of equipment. We can't keep them protected from the rain, the sun, wind, and in those conditions, we would really love to scale up a little bit and hire employees to help us make it a little bit more sustainable, because we work really a lot of hours, and there is a scale just a little bit bigger than what we're doing that makes more sense. And like everybody else out here, I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, their housing is always up in the air. We were a little confused. We don't really understand what happened with our proposal, why it never reached the board, why it wasn't taken as seriously as we thought it might be. And we'd really love an opportunity for the board to see our proposal. And we know some of the other people that proposed got interviews and we didn't get anything. And we would really love an opportunity to get those things. And to be just thought of in the future. And yeah, so just, we've been doing this work for a long time, and we've learned a lot. And we've done a good job. We really have. Like we've had success, and we really believe we could be an asset to this community. We want to be an asset to this community. But if we're not given up an opportunity, we can't be, and we'll have to move elsewhere. And it's not something we want to do.
Understand. And
Thanks.
the board, as you probably are aware, has been actively trying to promote local farming, and have acquired, 42 acres, I think, in the last year and a half or so of farmland. Your response was vetted by the committee. I think there were 4 respondents that applied for that Cedar Street property, of which 2 were recommended by the committee to go to the town board for further review and a decision to be made by the town board.
Yeah.
So as you say, your response didn't make it. I think we could get back to you and get you some information as to why it didn't make it to the next round of review. And certainly we'll keep you in mind for future properties that become available. We understand how difficult it is to farm here, and that in your case, it sounds like you are at the point where you're ready to make that transition from what you started with to the next level. And that's something, we want to see. We want to see the local farming community grow here. So, we're here to help as we can. There's a number of different individuals and groups that are all vying for the same opportunities. So while you may not have been selected this time around, don't count yourselves out for future opportunities, and we'll certainly try to make you aware of them as they come up.
And I'll just add on to what the supervisor said, is that with this property specifically had historical context to the agriculture and agrarian history of the town of East Hampton. Unfortunately, over the years, it was put into separate homes. They were torn down, and then this space opened up. The creativity of the town board looking at the needs for developing, as you're saying, incubator farms for individuals that want to do that shows that we're on the right path and there's more that are needed. And I agree with what the supervisor said, is that we're going to continue to look for farms or small subsets of this nature that would provide all the amenities needed for successful next steps for young individuals that want to participate in our community. But the process was what the supervisor said, we can get you more information.
Right. And it might be helpful for you to request the copies of the two proposals that did make it to the second round so that you could.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll try to get you some additional feedback on that. And again, there may be some other opportunities moving forward that come up.
I'll speak for myself on this, maybe the board. This right here is exactly why we purchased that property, to give individuals opportunities. And if there's a difference of a point here or there on a scale on there, then two, they're all winner. We just need to do, the town board needs to do more of this to help out the industry and individuals like you that have that desire. I see it, I hear it right now, and trust me, that hits. So I appreciate you coming in. I'll speak for myself. I think the board says coming in and tell us what your feelings are. That's really important. It's actually motivating. I thank you.
Yeah, I would just say yes to everything that's been said. And I think you coming in and coming to a public meeting and emphasizing the need of keeping farmers like you and young people like you that want to develop their business in our community is best said by you than anything else and we could ever say. So it's really important that you came in and spoke today, and I thank you for it. And I see that we have your contact information on one of the pages. So, let's stay in touch and move this path forward. And please come back again and keep the message out there.
Thanks. Yeah, we would love an opportunity to talk to any of you again soon or whenever.
I have an open door policy.
All right.
We all do.
We all do. Please come in.
All right. Yeah.
Talk
Thank
to
you very
us,
much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board at this time? Do we have any callers on the line, Matt?
No callers on the line, sir.
And we'll move on to resolutions. Kathy, I think you have some resolutions to offer.
Do, starting with resolution 2022-1399. It's approval of the warrant. Claims total $6,254,531.41. And the utility warrant totals $37,973.97.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
2022-1400 is approval of various special event permits. We've got the Montauk Chamber of Commerce, the Magic of Montauk. It's going to be held on the Montauk Green on Saturday, December 10th from 1 to 6. And the East Hampton Historical Farm Museum is having Christmas at the Farm at the museum on Thursday, December 15th from 4:30 to 7:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1401 is to appoint student intern 1 to the tax collection office, Sierra Gant, at the hourly rate of $16 per hour, and that's effective December 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I'd like to offer resolution 2022-1402. This is update the fee schedule for chapter 199 for the rental registry. We established set fees through resolution 2015-1338. We are now going to be changing those the registration fee to $200 for a 2-year term, and for registration fee for a renewal fee also for $200 for a 2-year term.
Second.
And can I just have a quick discussion, if you don't mind? While we are going to be putting this in place now, the policy for the building department is not to actually accept these fees and changes until January 1st. This will go into effect January 1st of 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I apologize. I'm
1403.
1403 is where I'm at. Aquaculture. I'm going to do a budget modification for aquaculture for travel, conference, and dues in the amount of $110 to telephone in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1404 is budget modification for cemeteries. This is for work that will be done at the Ranger and Jericho cemeteries. We'll be bringing $3,500 for subcontractor from Green River to $3,500 for the line for repairs general.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1405 is a contract extension of the CPF water quality contribution for the Conic Estuary Partnership for 2022. And the award for the town for share 2022 is $148,575.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1406 is a contract extension for EH 20037 annual generator contract to Commander Power Systems. And this is annual generator and maintenance contract until January 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
2022-1407. This is for Albrecht. So I'd authorize a CPF project plan addition. The property is located tax map 300-103-8-3.4. It is located at 106 Red Dirt Road, Springs. The property is proximity to significant preserved lands held by the town of East Hampton and Conic Land Trust. Has an active trail along its edge. Preservation may include a trail reroute. The parcel is in a groundwater protection area, water recharge overlay district, and the Pine Barrens.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I'd like to offer Resolution 2022-1408. This is for Albrecht, authorize the CPF acquisition and amend the 2022 Management and Stewardship Plan. The location is 106 Red Dirt Road, Springs, East Hampton. Owner is Karen Halbrick. Tax maps 300-103-8-3.4. We had a public hearing on November 17, 2022. Reported purchase price is not to exceed 1.5 million.
We have a discussion.
Yeah,
we have to have a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah. So is there a reason why this didn't get an assessment by the planning department? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know that answer immediately. I don't know if all properties get an assessment for it. But I don't know that exact answer there.
So I think, the comments made by David Buddha about whether it's a necessary property to acquire, whether or not the price paid for it is a legitimate price. I think, it's worthy to have a discussion about that. The board has felt that this particular property, that while perhaps the actual access of the road may not need to be protected, that the surroundings of that woods road to keep the integrity of that in place is worthwhile, to be able to prevent further development at that location is within the goals of the town's policies. And with regard to purchase price, purchase prices are negotiated based on the town's understanding of what an appraised value is. It's an appraisal that's done by a licensed and certified appraiser. That is the basis of the price that we cannot pay more than. And in many cases, the price brought into question is actually less than what our appraised value was. I don't recall off the top of my head whether this was full appraised value, but like I said, in many cases, it's actually below full appraised value that we end up paying when we acquire a property. And this is certainly under full appraised value.
Can I just make some comments as well? First of all, when I listened to David, he also said that there were other reasons. And when you look at the special groundwater protection area, Pine Barrens and all the other designations, I think that makes this a good candidate. Also, when I was on the Nature Preserve Committee many years ago, there was a property owner that had a public easement for a trail across their property. It became very cumbersome for those people. Their dogs, they had to really make sure their dogs didn't go at people as they were crossing their property. If you can think about a trail crossing your property fairly close to the house as this one is. And at some point they actually blocked the trail and then it had to go through litigation. So I do note that this property was for sale. And I think that when you have a trail that close to a house, there are issues there. There's safety issues for both the people that live there and the people traversing. So that was what we experienced in the Nature Preserve Committee many years ago. So I support the acquisition.
As far as the specific property, it does surround some of the largest tracts of land, the Peconic Land Trust and also the town preserve lands in this area. Even though they might not be directly adjacent to them, they're in the adjacent area. It is over our sole, this property is over our sole aquifer of the Stony Hill area. Again, as Kate just mentioned, it is in the Water Recharge Overlay District, the Special Groundwater Protection Area. At a square footage of the property, 85,594 feet. This would allow for an over 10,000 square foot house to be built on the property without any encumbrances, just looking at the straight numbers. The neighboring subdivision to the south also has a roadside scenic easement on it, as this small property does, but that does not mean a large swath of the property would be taken down, cleared, and changed. This reminds me, as Kate just mentioned, of another location where we did have a trail easement in which a property owner tried to make changes to this across highway to Devon most recently then too. So this actually would be a scenario in which we would have greater protections on it. This was discussed in the Nature Preserve Committee years ago. I believe Zach Cohen brought this up here.
It was a property on Merchant's Path that also
Well,
had that
I think this
issue.
specific area and location, because of the connectivity issues on there, I do believe that that road is very bucolic in nature. The preservation of the road for an appraised value price or under the appraised value price or at it is within the character of the neighborhood to protect it. Is one of our last wooded areas in the town of East Hampton where you can drive for a long period of time. I also remember that when this road was still a red dirt road and not paved. So to maintain that vista, I think it's important for the character of the neighborhood. There's many environmental factors. I think the price was right. I don't disagree with what David said, is that sometimes the town does set the market price at a time when people might want to come in. It is a willing sell of property. I do think there is value in purchasing it. I do think the process was correct.
There's one other comment I'd like to address, and that was regarding the tax base. And the speaker said that they'd rather see the property developed. The neighboring properties pay $11,000 with local property taxes per household. And, that money could go towards Spring School. And I'll just make the comment that it is in fact the density of Springs and the development of Springs has driven the school costs as high as they are. And it takes just one student in that property once developed at $25,000 a year for 12 years to pretty much negate the neighbor's contributions to taxes. And if it was really true that the increase of tax base reduced people's taxes, then Western Suffolk would have the lowest taxes and we would have the highest. And it's just the opposite to that. So I think that's a spurious argument and don't think it really bears much weight. Are we prepared
I'm ready to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I'd like to offer Resolution 2022-1409. This is a payout upon retirement for Jose Sanchez. He retired. He's got sick time accruals. Finance office is authorized to issue a check to the payroll for the appropriate time for accrued sick and personal time of $193.72. Accrued compensatory time at $805.74, less $616.70, and overuse of vacation time for a total gross payout of $382.75 payable to Jose Sanchez, who actually worked he's a heavy equipment operator in the highway department. They had his retirement party, and I believe he worked for the town for over 24 years. So he'll be missed, and he had a great, tremendous effort in working for the town of East Hampton.
We wish him the best in his retirement. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 2022-1410 is authorized at appraisal of unit in 300 Panago, total expenditures not to exceed $1,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I'll just,
It's easier for Carol if Kate does it.
sure.
And I will therefore offer 2022-1411, which is a a bids extension for professional management services for Camp Hero wastewater system to CMJ Graywater. And whereas in response to a previous RFP, professional management services for Camp Hero wastewater system, the town board retained CMJ Graywater to provide engineering service to the town. Whereas the proposal of CMJ Graywater and the agreement entered into by the town provided for 2 one-year extensions of the agreement at the rate set forth. Therefore, be it resolved that the senior purchasing agent is authorized to issue purchase orders to CMJ Graywater in accordance with the town's bid specifications and for a period and submission of the contractor for a period of 1 year to be effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1412 is a budget modification for the planning department and resolve that the budget office will make the following modification. $2,100 moved from training expense to telephones in the amount of $600 and uniforms in the amount of $1,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
1413 is release security for URP 14 and EH3. Whereas a report has been received from the town's consulting engineer approving road work for a certain urban renewal road improvement assignment, and a request has been submitted by the property owner requesting the release of security. Be it resolved that the following security held by the town board is hereby released, and the town clerk is directed to return the same to the principal party named herein, Alexander Van Gerp, for in the amount of $24,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Next, I have 2022-1414, which is to increase the payout for Cornell Cooperative Extension. And this started with Resolution 2022-1216, authorizing long-term monitoring of the injection permeable reactive barrier project in 3 Mile Harbor at Tambar Creek for a total cost of $25,019. And whereas the purchase order was created with a total budget of $23,519 based on available funding. So therefore, whereas a budget modification was submitted to increase the available funding in the appropriate budget line to account for the $1,500 discrepancy, be it resolved that the town board directs the budget office to increase the purchase order by $1,500 to make payment to Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
1415 is a budget modification for natural resources the modification is to the natural resources budget for the purpose of funding energy sustainability initiatives, including an HVAC feasibility study and long-term monitoring for the 3 Mile Harbor permeable reactive barrier. And that is a modification from Habitat Management in the amount of $16,000 to subcontractor cost in the amount of $16,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
1416 is a budget modification for the Administrative Adjudication Bureau. And this is a modification for subcontractors' costs. So the increase is to subcontractor costs in the amount of $5,000 and an increase to the Administrative Adjudications fine line in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. David, the next one has your name on it?
Sure. Thank you. Resolution 2022-1417. This is a budget modification for beaches where we're taking $39,250 from full-time salaries, $6,500 for part-time salaries, and bringing it to other equipment in the amount of $45,750.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 2022-1418 is a license agreement, Servco, agent for LIPA at 365 Montauk Highway in Montauk Tower. Resolve the supervisor, subject to progressive referendum, is authorized to execute 10-year license agreement, annual fee of $1 with Servco as agent for LIPA for the installation and maintenance of equipment on a portion of the tower at 365 Montauk Highway, Montauk, with the town benefiting from the use of the said equipment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 1419, is to amend resolution number 2022-1337. Finance Department resolved resolutions amended to correct the budget account code for budget modification for advertising in the amount of $2,800.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 1420 is to extend contract bid EH 21-001 snow plowing at the East Hampton Airport, rebid Southampton Excavation and Site Development LLC. And that is for various amounts at various depths of snow.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Resolution 2022-1421 is a notice of proposal, web designer services for coastal assessment resiliency plan, CARP RFP number EH 2022-107. Proposal available December 1st, 2022, and proposal is due back January 12th of 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 1422 is a budget modification. I think there's misspelling of word modification there. Finance Department, and that is in the amount of $8,500 subcontractor costs to outside professional in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 1423 is a budget modification for the police department, and that is moving $8,000 from telephone to $8,000 and uniform allowance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 1424 is a budget modification in the ordinance enforcement, and that is moving $750 from the New York State retirement to outside professional in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Kathy, I think you have at least one of the additional resolutions.
Resolution 2022-1425 is to reappoint Amato Ortiz to the East Hampton Housing Authority for a 5-year term.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
1426 is to appoint Bryony Friege to the East Hampton Housing Authority to an unexpired term of 1 year, and she's going to be filling out the remaining term of Joe O'Connell, who's deeply missed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 2022-1427 is budget modification of dental and optical, and this is moving total of $966 from contingency and A fund and B fund lines to various other lines, A and B fund in dental and optical, for a total of $966.
Don't usually see a budget mod with $1 in it.
Usually, that's why I just added them all together.
Second.
Aye.
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 Passed and carried. 1428, some payout upon resignation of Anthony LaFontaine. And that is for time, accrued compensatory time. Balance is $169.68, 6.5 hours, less $389.57 for unused vacation time, and less $77.91 for in the overuse of personal time. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Finance Department will contact Mr. LaFontaine, who requests a payment in the amount of $297.80.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 1429 is to authorize the renewal of Meriden IT software support, and that would be for a proposal dated 11/22/22 to provide Avaya software support for 5-month period from 1/1/23 through 5/31/23 at a cost of $532.94.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carry. Are there any other resolutions bring before the board?
I do not.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to
I'm going to do them next week. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss CPF, get advice of counsel, and discuss the license agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. We'll Take 5 minutes and go into exec. Does that work for everyone?
Sounds good.
Very good. Thanks very much, everyone. Stay safe and be well.